Hello guys and girls, welcome to another video. It is not an unboxing video, unfortunately, for those that love the unboxing videos. It is game reviews. So what we've started to do, or what I've decided to do, is branch out a little bit. We will still be doing unboxing videos. I only sign up for click rates nowadays, which, you know, is enough for me because with everything that's been going off, I just can't physically afford the amount of boxes that I used to get. I still get the click rates, but what we're going to start doing is we're doing gaming and game reviews, which is a follow on from the streaming. Now, what sparked this off was because of recent events. I haven't been streaming in, as much or enough, so I thought in content making's stead, I suppose you could say, I've decided to do game reviews. Now, we have been chosen to be reviewing a game today called Shame Legacy. Now, Shame Legacy is a first-person survival horror set in 19th century forsaken cultist village. You attempt to survive using stealth and escape mechanics. By solving puzzles, you figure out your connection to it all. Meanwhile, an eerie danger looms over. So after looking at a couple of the press release videos and little clips, it kind of looked like it was a bit of a mix between Outlast and We Happy Few with the animation style. So I was kind of excited for it because I absolutely loved We Happy Few, and Outlast is amazing. So it had all the signatures of being a fantastic game, and that's exactly what I got when I switched it on. So when you first get into the game, you start off in a really murky, dark, spooky setting, I suppose you could call it, with something on fire in the distance. You've just woken up, and I usually find that the waking up dazed and confused is overly used now in these low budget games, because I don't know if they're trying to save on budget and not do a massive intro with a massive, or not even massive, just a little bit of a detailed intro video or something like that. They just kind of hope that you just relate to the character waking up in the middle of nowhere and just getting on with it. And they did this in Tunic as well, and it took me a little bit of time to get into Tunic, but what kept me going was the light-hearted animations, whereas this, it's very dark and you're confused as heck, and I suppose that's what they're aiming at. But for a lot of gamers, I think it can take it away from the experience because they want some sort of story to work towards instead of just going through it. So as you're going through the game, you start to encounter the bad guys. Now, that's okay. There's a stealth system that's in place, and there's a little noise marker at the bottom of the screen, and it increases and decreases depending on if you're crouching, running, or walking. And but the one thing that still isn't clear to me is the field of view for the bad guys, because it's telling you to crouch and sneak around, which is great, but in some parts you're looking straight at them, and to be fair, you're actually quite close, so there's no indicator on the game of how close you can actually get for the field of view. You've just got to chance it, which can get really, really annoying, especially when you are spotted, and you end up dying because the health system's a little bit off skew. After every encounter, it flashes like you're like almost going to pass out. It like makes the screen go hazy and stuff like that. And if you don't get to your medicine before you go into the next encounter, then you're just going to die straight away because you're not, I don't know, mentally prepared, I suppose. I think that's what they were going for. Now, the biggest problem with this was that it really took away from the idea of being able to defend yourself, because whenever you get into a counter with one of the bad guys, it comes up with a little bar across the bottom of the screen, and you have to move the stick, and if you blink you'll miss it, and then you have to hit the button that it flashes up with. But then there's some encounters where you drag the circle into another circle and then hit the button, which I massively preferred, because it didn't take away from what was happening on the screen. You could kind of see what was going off on the screen and be able to do the circle thing, whereas the bar across the bottom, it completely distracted. There's no real health system. It's basically you have one encounter and manage to defend yourself. You have a second encounter and you are dead, and you have to start back at the last checkpoint. Now, there are massive load times for the checkpoints. I'm talking like potentially 15 to 20 seconds worth of loading screen just to set you back where you were like 30 seconds ago. getting back to the stealth system, it's the game is very much split into, say, 3 categories. So you walk around as normal, you're picking stuff up, fantastic. As soon as you enter an area that requires you to have stealth, a great big white, bright white, especially on the dark background, flashes up in the left-hand side of the screen, and it tells you, shush, you got to be quiet now. It's like, right. So you do that section, and then it disappears. And it's like, oh, so now I can walk around again. It kind of downplays what the game is trying to achieve. It's a horror game, but you've got this massive white symbol in the bottom that tells you, right, this now you've got to be stealthy, and it kind of takes away. There should be a constant little bar that just kind of peaks, that goes doop 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 doop, and that should be the audio. I feel like when you're sneaking around and you're trying to get to certain areas, that should always be on screen, because then there's no clear indicator where you need to be quiet. It can catch you out, and then jump scare, which would be a hell of a lot better. And then the third part of it is basically you just run as fast as you can. There's a demon that's on fire that chases you through points in the game. And so you're either walking around freely because there's no stealth and you're just picking up stuff, then you go into stealth mode with the little marker, and then all of a sudden you're into this just run. So long as you're heading in the right direction, you're going to be absolutely fine. And it just seems very, very disjointed in certain areas. It's a hell of a contrast between the scenes. It very much is walk around, stealth, you get chased. Walk around, stealth, you get chased. And it's just rinse and repeat for the whole game. In no way is this game a terrible game. I just feel, especially with everything that's come out, I just feel that the game could have been so much better. I just really wanted it to be a good game, and I mean that you could practically complete the whole thing in like 3 hours. I know that somebody wrote a review about The Shame Legacy, and they completed it within an hour and a half the day it launched. And it's like, my goodness. Now, I was blessed to be given a free copy, but the retail price of this game right now is £35. And that's £35 for a game that only lasts 3 hours on a normal playthrough. You know what I mean? And I just feel that it just seems a bit, right, okay, we've got a game, fantastic. Oh, here's the price tag. And it's like, it just, like the gameplay, it's just really disconnected, you know? And by no means, like I say, I'm saying that this is a terrible game. It has the bare bones of everything that a fantastic horror game needs. It just doesn't have the oomph that really keeps you engaged. There's not a hell of a lot of replay value on it, considering you've spent £35 and only takes 3 hours to complete. I think it just got released at the wrong time as well. I mean, it's smack bang in the middle of some of the best horror titles from 2022 and 2023 to be released. Back end of 2022, we had Callisto Protocol, we had the Resident Evil remakes, we've had Dead Space come out, we've got the Amnesia Collection coming out. On top of that, Alan Wake has been announced, and it's right smack dab in what could potentially be the best part of 2023 for horror games. But that's me, you know, so I think out of 5, I'll give it a 2 out of 5, I think. It does have its moments. It is a little bit scary in places. There's a couple of jump scares, and they are done really, really well. Don't get me wrong, they are done fantastically well. But for the summarizing the whole game, the disconnect and everything, I think I'm going to have to give it 2 out of 5. And I'll give it 2 out of 5 so long as the price comes down to a maximum of £20. So there's just not a lot to it to justify the 35, unfortunately. But there we go. So that's my video. Let me know what you think. If you want to see me do any sort of other videos, any sort of reviews, tell me how you think this review went. Did I do a good job? It's one of my. It is my first review. Let me know, and I shall see you again soon. Ta-da!